Hi 你好，歡迎返到永之友，好高興咧，今日我請到 LA 嘅 City Councilman John 咧就嚟到我呢個訪問，咁咧佢咧就係呢個 City Councilman 嘅LA 嘅 City Rancho Palos Verdes 嘅，咁佢咧亦都係有2間公司嘅 President 同埋 CEO 嘅喎，咁所以咧今日好開心啦，請到你同我哋講下佢將會咧就會 run 呢個2024年嘅 LA Supervisor 嘅呢個位置，咁今日好開心請到佢嚟啦。Hi, welcome, John. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for your time to meet our audience. It's your first time here. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
I know John is the city councilman for Rancho Palos Verdes, and also you're CEO and president for 2 engineering firms in LA. So I know you're very busy, and thank you for your time. You're going to run the 2014 LA Supervisor. I know this is position very important. 呢個位置係好緊要嘅 LA Supervisor. I know this position called 5 little kings, right? To really in charge of the LA. So can you explain a little bit more about why you're running the position, what the position for, and the job and the functioning?
You bet. Well, thank you for having me today. So there, like you said, there's 5 kings, or in this case in Los Angeles County, there are 5 queens. There are 5 female supervisors, and to me that doesn't matter. I think what's most important for someone to be running as a Los Angeles County supervisor is that we represent, the 5 of us, 10 million people. Right, so each one is responsible for 5 districts. There's 5 districts, and there's 2 million people per district.
Wow!
And so like you mentioned, I run an engineering company, and Los Angeles County has a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And we as engineers were trained to be problem solvers. I've been an elected official since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I will have another 1.5 years left on that city council in Rancho Palos Verdes. And I thought for me it would be appropriate to run for Los Angeles County Supervisor because I believe as a 3rd-generation Southern Californian resident that I need to help solve these problems.
Thank you. 咁啊 John 咧就話佢喺2017咧就係做呢個Rancho Palos Verdes 嘅 councilman 啦，咁佢亦都係2間公司嘅 CEO to president， 咁咧佢就有好多啲 leadership 嘅經驗啦，同埋 corporate 嘅經驗啦，佢想用佢啲經驗嚟幫 LA， 因為而家 LA 咧真係好多問題㗎，咁咁呢啲問題咧希望佢可以幫我哋慢慢咁逐一解決，咁So I know there's so many problems in LA. So for the LA supervisor job and responsibility, what is the function about the LA supervisor?
So the function is that the county is made up of dozens and dozens of cities, and also areas that they call unincorporated areas that are just part of the county, but they're not actual cities. And so the supervisors are the ones that are overseeing the functions such as the health department, transportation, they oversee the parks and recreation, the many different rules and regulations that dictate how all the cities within Los Angeles County function.
Wow! 咁佢都係就話佢 LA Supervisor 嘅 function 咧就係睇晒所有咁多個 LA County 同埋 City 啦，有 LA 有大約10個 million。10個100萬即係千萬億萬咁嘅人啦，咁每一個 supervisor 咧就會管200萬嘅人嘅，咁咧就佢哋會管有啲公園啦，有醫療啦，有好多唔同部門嘅function 啦，都係佢管嘅，所以佢哋咧就叫做 5 little king 嘅，其實係咁所以咧佢哋就係除咗管呢啲咧，咁佢哋咧仲要係有好多要 leadership 嘅經驗啦，咁我諗John 咧都會好，即係佢有2間公司管咗咁耐咧，都有好多咁嘅經驗。I know that you also oversee the budgeting, right, and the hiring, and there's a lot of power of this position.
There's a lot of power. So the Los Angeles County the number of people that work for Los Angeles County is 111,000 people.
Wow.
And their budget is $39 billion per year.
Wow.
So that's a lot of authority for 5 people to oversee that.
Yeah.
So it's very critical that the people that oversee that have the experience to be able to manage and oversee that. All 5 of the current supervisors, not one have ever worked in the private sector. They've only worked for government.
Oh.
And we really do need people that have private sector business experience, people that understand taking risk, because we as supervisors, we are spending taxpayer dollars, and people work very hard for that money, and I want to respect that and be able to represent them.
OK， 咁咧佢話而家嘅 supervisor 咧有好多都係冇乜嘅工作嘅私人工作嘅經驗嘅，咁咧就好多都係喺政府度做嘢嘅啫，咁但係佢咧就有好多私人公司嘅工作經驗啦，所以希望呢啲工作經驗咧可以用到喺呢個 LA Supervisor position， 因為呢個 Supervisor position 咧係有好多權力嘅，咁好多好大嘅 budget 啦，咁都係由佢哋嚟決定嘅，咁所以咧即係都要揀好小心咁揀到人嘅，咁出年咧就係2024嘅選舉年啦，所以我哋今次咧就同佢講下佢點樣可以解決咁多 LA 嘅問題啦。And I know LA.I live here for almost like 30 years, and you were born here in LA. So you see the change, right? I saw the change too. So, and as a parent or as a citizen, we all very frustrated. And we all saying that enough is enough. That's why we're here. So, and I know we have a lot of problems, right? We have crime, we have inflation, we have homeless, we have traffic, we have, I don't know, too many.So, and number one problem, a lot of voters, more than 94.5% voters say number one problem in LA is homeless. How do you deal with all this problem?
Right. Well, okay. So homelessness doesn't just happen overnight. And like you said, I grew up here, and there was homelessness my entire life here, but it was never this bad.Like it was always just one area in downtown Los Angeles called Skid Row. And of course people were down on their luck, and there were rescue missions and churches and others that tried to help, and for the most part they did. But what's happened is that the cost of living is so high, and that people can no longer afford rent or to of course buy a house.And inflation has caused so many problems that now you have an explosion of homelessness. So we have a responsibility as government officials to stop the pressure on people. We need to help them. We need to help take pressure off so that inflation goes down, so that people can actually live their lives and afford the things they need, the basics in life. And I want to help do that.
咁佢話咧，佢喺度長大啦。咁homeless 呢個問題咧，其實不嬲都有噶啦，唔係冇嘅。咁咧，但係通常都係 LA downtown 嗰條叫 Skid Row， 咁我都去過，真係幾驚嘅。咁但係咧，而家呢個 problem 唔係淨係 LA， 好多地唔係淨係 downtown， 好多地方都有。咁所以咧，其實亦幾個問題咧，就因為啲嘢貴啦，屋又貴啦，咁揾嘢又唔係咁容易揾啦。咁所以好多問題都會引到呢個 homeless problem 嘅。咁我哋問下佢。咁究竟點樣可以即係點樣解決到啦 ？I know it's like right now homeless is about 69,000 homeless in LA, and the price you say a lot of problem caused from the really high expensive housing, and the median price of the house over 800,000. The rent is over$5,000. Sometimes people spend 70% of the income to pay for the rent and the house. Like, how can some people afford it? If they're making like a minimum wage or even a little bit more, they are forced to live on the street, right? So, and like you say, before I went to downtown too, like, okay, we don't go there. Sometimes we kind of avoid it, but now we cannot avoid it because I go to the park where I live and go to the street where I lived before. And now I saw homeless even where we live, right? I think everyone can feel it and see it.
Well, I know you have an international audience, and so a lot of people have never been here before, but like you said, now it's gotten to the point where it's not just in downtown Los Angeles, it's in all of our cities. And they live in all of our parks, they live near our beaches. And I know a lot of politicians, they feel like we need to help everyone, but they've made things so much worse by having that feeling, because they've raised minimum wages so that now there's less jobs. They've increased the price of inflation, fuel, things that make, and so you have people now that the only place they can afford to live is on the sidewalk and in a park. Also, we have about 25% of those people have mental illness problems, but we refuse to give them the mental help they need. So we need to do that as well. So for people like you and me, we care for them, but it's not right for them to be living in our parks, because we want our kids and our community to be able to enjoy that, and they can't.
咁佢哋就話即係呢個 homeless problem 就係以前就係 LA downtown 啦，而家咧就係我哋住附近都慢慢睇到啦。咁佢話好多人都嘗試幫佢哋，咁但係去增加嗰個工資啦，咁但係令到好多因為增加工資，咁令到好多 job 亦都減少咗啦，咁嘅買嘢嘅價錢又貴啦，屋又貴啦，令到佢哋都好難去揾一個地方住，好多時見到佢真係要瞓喺條街度啊，喺海灘啊、公園啊，周圍都係，咁我哋問佢點樣可以即係解決呢個問題啦。So okay, increase wages is not really solving the problem. And building some more home may be not solving the problem either, because they probably refuse to go in. I know some homeless, they want to live on the street, they have mental problem. So what should we do? How are you going to, what kind of program or what can you do to help them?
Right. Well, housing first does not work. We've tried building housing first and it's failed, and the housing numbers keep getting higher and higher. So there's not one solution. The 20-25% of those with mental illness need to be put into conservatorships and have in hospitals and be given mental care that they deserve for their safety. Also, many of the people that are homeless are criminals. Those criminals prey on the mentally ill and those that are weak. We need to reopen our jails so that people that are criminals are put in jail. So that takes care of at least half of that population. And we need to stop having artificial wages. We need to allow our businesses to flourish so that they can create jobs again, so that many of those that are maybe not college educated but have the ability to work, whether it be just being a janitor or making food in a fast food restaurant, we want to be able to provide those jobs so that they can start learning how to take care of themselves. That's how we take care of it.
咁啊，佢話好多嗰啲 homeless 都係有mental problem 啦，咁佢話應該要揾多啲醫院啊或者醫生啊要幫佢哋啦，咁有好多係罪犯啦，咁個亦都要開多啲嗰個監獄，要揾啲罪犯要 lock down 佢哋啦，咁又少咗好多佢哋喺街度去犯罪啦，咁亦都去幫佢哋去揾嘢做啦，因為好多係佢係冇能力，亦都冇呢個skill 嘅，咁又可以訓練佢哋做多啲，幫到佢哋去揾工做啦，咁我覺得呢啲都係好嘅 solution 嚟嘅。I think it's a good idea, especially right now. A lot of people get really upset, the crime really high. Even, I am the victim too. My car that got broke into a couple weeks ago, and you see that on the video. A lot of people walk out with a lot of stuff from the store, and it looked like they don't need to go into jail, right? Mm-hmm. So we really, I've always felt safe before, living in LA, but now.
嗨，多謝大家收睇我嘅節目。 記得 subscribe and 俾 like 啦。